Hello everyone, welcome to our show tonight. Tonight we have a very exciting topics that we want to discuss about. Of course, it's none other than our retail industry. Will COVID-19 be the ultimate nail to the coffin for conventional retail? Of course, tonight we are very honored to have again the Datuk Garry Chua, the president for Malaysia Retail Chain Association, MRCA. Welcome to the show, Datuk.
Thank you for having me.
As well as Zed Lee from Shopee. Zed, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me tonight.
Yes, so this year, retail industry overall will be a little bit challenging. As the statistic just out, the month of April has a contraction of about 60.7% in retail sale as compared to the same month of 2019. Of course, that is understandable because we are under a lockdown and most of the malls or shops or retails are closed. So maybe I start off with the discussion with first off with Zed. What is digital transformation to you?
So that's quite an interesting question. So I think from what I've learned so far, right, digital transformation has actually two forms, right? There is a small d digital transformation and a big D digital transformation. So this basically what it means, huh? So when we talk about small d digital transformation, right, it's basically if you think like an IT manager. How do I buy software? How do I make my forms from paper into digital Word documents? That is a small d digital transformation. That's when you think like an IT manager. But I think what we really want to talk about tonight, right, is the big D, which is when you smell digital with a big D. So when we as businessmen think about big D digital transformation, we're really talking about what kind of new opportunities, business opportunities, does digital provide me, right? So for Shopee, this opportunity is really about e-commerce. How do you do retail, not just in shopping malls, but also online as well? For the banks, it could be about fintech, financial services. For many players, it could be delivery, it could be food, etc. It's basically, we want to think about digital transformation from a business perspective, being able to capture this new market called digital.
All right. Dr. Sri, what is your take on this digital transformation?
You see, digital is the major thrust of Industrial Revolution 4.0, okay? And Malaysia is still very small. We only have about 5% in terms of digital on the GDP, the sales. So, and today, we mustn't overlook the fact that in the Fortune 500 companies, there are more than 50% of them are all digital-based, you see. You see, even lately, based on this lockdown worldwide, only there are few companies still doing exceptionally well. For example, Amazon, online.
Yeah.
And this, you have also Netflix. They are having a record share in terms of pricing. Netflix is basically game-based, you see. And you also have Microsoft, who do cloud for the office and all this. So these are some of the few companies that even excel during these bad times. So these are some of the good examples. But let's look back a little bit about history. You see, looking at the 18th century, we have the Industrial Revolution 1.0. See, that time we have the steam engine and mechanical. Then after that, later the 19th century, we have the assembly of cars and electricity. And then coming towards the third quarter of 20th century, 1969 or so, then you have started the internet. You have the IT, computer, and automation. And today, we have Industrial Revolution 4. This will bring a lot of disruptions to not only people at work, but also at home and everywhere we encounter. And this talking about cyber technology and also innovations. Things like Fusion X, big data, artificial intelligence, robotics, IoT, chatbots, clouds. And all these, including drones, are all part of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. They are all digital basis. So, so now we are talking about digital. It's about now 4.0 about optimizing man and machine in the smartest way to produce the best ever result in terms of productivity, efficiency, and also most important for businessmen, profitability. Is it? And looking at China today, even way back in 2018, there were exhibition in US talking about technology exhibition. China were presented with more than 90% of the exhibitors in terms of artificial intelligence. you can see China already leading way ahead of many countries in this area. And not forgetting now you're talking about 5G, so these are things to ponder about. I think that is, just to sum it up in a nutshell, this is basically what is digital transformation will bring to change our life, and also in terms of work and also the way we live. So it has very, very vast dynamics in terms of implications and impact to all our lives. Can you hear me?
Yes, I think Datuk
I think most of the entrepreneurs, we do know the needs for selling online. We do know that online offers us a vast new online offers us a vast new opportunity. So the need has never been more urgent. Yeah. The need has never been more urgent. So now, at this current time, how can entrepreneurs or SME adopt in this so-called digital transformation bandwagon? Datuk Sri, would you want to elaborate on that?
I think the lockdown had hastened the entire digital and online concept in the world, because you see, those days we're talking about online, basically majority are all dominated by the millennials, you see. But now even the older folks, you have to do like Zoom and all kinds of digital things. They have to force to buy online. Those days is basically all the millennials. They buy everything because of convenience and speed, and there's a lot of variety. Like especially Shopee can provide such a wide variety of products.
Okay.
You just go in and then you click, and then you can get whatever you want at the best possible prices. I think that is very important, is it? You see, in Malaysia, I think MDEC can play a very major role in this area to spur the digital era. Previously, we have the digital free trade zone, which was in collaboration with Jack Ma. I'm not sure about what happened, but I think it's good to kickstart that again to actually to spur our digitalization in Malaysia, because we're talking about we suppose have 20% of the GDP for digital by year 2020, but it is already year 2020, is it? So I don't think we can achieve it. We are way behind. So I think we have to do much more than that. You see, this last MCO in Malaysia, there's some interesting things to learn about, from our members and other non-friends. Online is catching up in Malaysia, but still rather slow. It's still very sluggish. You look at, for example, the normal restaurants, we score probably about below 20% in terms of takeaways. But the fast food, like Mary Brown, and others, probably about 50%. So you have dropped 50% of sales, but you still score 50%. What you call it? Like the rest of the food base, like Jaya Grocer and all these village grocer, they're still having good business because those are essential goods. In fact, with this lockdown, if let's say we know how to utilize digital, you can promote your company in a bigger way, because a lot of people are looking at online now, and even look at Herma in China is so successful, online supermarket and fresh food by Jack Ma. So these are some of the things we can emulate and also bring back into Malaysia and make it in a big way. I think these are some of the things we can look at digital or online.
Yeah, Zed, your side, what is your take on it? How can entrepreneurs at this current time, adopt to that changes?
Yeah, that's a good point. So kind of echo what Datuk Sri Garry also mentioned as well. So I think a lot of this thing is actually about getting over the first step of trying first. I think a lot of businesses out there, because they're used to the way of how they're doing business always previously, right? They find online a bit challenging, either because they're not familiar or because they feel that they're quite comfortable as they are right now. They don't experiment, don't learn. But I think what we need to understand as well is that in order to get online, it's like starting a whole new store in a whole new country, whole new state, whole new mall. You don't just open up. You need to take time to build up that reputation, build out a familiarity so they can actually enter this market, which is actually exactly the point which Dato Sri mentioned just now. The MCO period is actually a very good time for people to build a habit with your consumers. One of the stories I used to like to share.
They say 21 days to build a habit, right?
And a lifetime of habit to deliver. I think that's the good thing. So exactly the point, right? So the thing is that when you invest in building a habit right now, the payoff actually comes through your whole life. So one very good example of this is our Malaysian favorite, right? Milo. If you ask anybody in room, 10 people in room, at least 7, 8 of them will tell them that they love to drink Milo. And the reason why we all love to drink Milo is because when we were young, Milo would come to school, give us free Milo van, ice cold Milo van that gets
brainwashed.
Exactly. So you have this habit when you're built when you're young. So by the time when you get older, you don't buy Horlicks, you don't buy Ovaltine, you don't buy whatever else it is. You buy Milo, which is why Shopee sells so much Milo every day. And that's exactly what we're doing with e-commerce, because e-commerce right now is primarily still young people, right? You're getting more of the middle age, the older people coming in as well because of MCO. But because it's so much young people, when they build a habit with your brand on e-commerce, 10 years later, the brand they'll choose is going to be your brand, not the competitor's brand who decided that they don't want to do online yet. So when it comes to getting online, it is both a short-term as well as long-term need. Short-term is how do I grow my business in the next year, in the next 3 years. Long-term is how do I build my loyal customer base for 10, 20 years down the road. That is the play we're going here for e-commerce. So try first, take time to build. And then once you have a loyal base and a good business online, it'll pay off throughout the ages.
Okay, good. We have a question from Sam. I just show how to lure nervous shoppers back to store. I think this question is directed to Datuk Seri. Datuk Seri, how to lure the nervous shoppers back to store. Of course, any one of our viewers now, if you have any questions to address to either Datuk Seri or Zed, you can share it with us, like what Sam did. Okay, Datuk Seri?
With the MCO just been sort of loosened up.
How do we attract?
You see, with loosen out, so there's a lot of factors here. People are still very skeptical. You see. I personally spoken to a lot of friends. Some are still skeptical about going out too often, and of course, hygiene is a very important thing. So the malls and also the retailers must give the assurance that the whole place will be properly sanitized. It will be the SOPs will be strictly followed. So all these are important factors to attract. Of course, we have to do aggressive marketing and promotion. For example, it could be free parking, and now people are looking for value for money. So you must give a very, like Shopee, you have some kind of special loss leader sort of campaign. So people are looking for value for money. You see. How to bring them back? People still have the little greed. If let's say we give very special offer, and then I'm sure a lot of people will still come and shop. But the fact is that now, because of distancing, the normal traffic will not be the same. After opening of or lifting of the MCO, life and business will never be the same. Will never be the norm, like last time. The new norm, there'll be a new norm, so these are some of the factors we have to look into it. But in terms of attracting back people, I think online is one of the very good area. We have to promote all the promotions and whatever assurance you give it to the clients, put it online. That is one way, easy way to reach
the new norm. Yes.
Because looking at these people physically, there'll be not so much contact like previously. So now, even now we are zooming. We talk more of a virtual sort of context. So again, online and digital will play a very, very, very complementary and very critical role for all areas of business as well. So these are some of the factors I think we can promote to lure customers back. Value for money and also hygiene and safety. I think these are the two key factors I think people will be looking at.
All right. Zed, your side, what's your industry? What is e-commerce biggest challenge right now?
Well, I think there are a couple of challenges posed by this the MCO, right? Uh, we see a huge surge of sales online, like in the US, for example. A lot of purchasing is moving from offline to online during lockdown period, and that's causing a lot of logistics challenges. Even Amazon, they also admitted in a recent financial results that as much as sales increase, they're actually spending a lot more now on the logistics, because without logistics, you cannot fulfill your orders. So I think that's one of the key challenges for all of e-commerce in Malaysia, not just for Shopee. How do we make sure that logistics can scale and grow and continue serving all the Malaysians, especially if you're not in a big town like a big city like KL? What if you're in a small town, small village far away? We need to make sure this logistics works, and they can scale up to be able to serve the increased volume as well. So that's one. So that's one thing, working very closely together with our service providers. So we partner with Post Laju, DHL, Ninja Van, as well as JNT Express. Essentially, we have a subsidy arrangement with them, right? Shopee pays for free shipping for consumers, so it helps consumers save in the buying. And then for the merchant, they also save more margins for them because they don't pay for shipping, and they get more sales because people don't have to pay for postage costs, which is one of the biggest barriers. If you look at top reasons people don't buy online, shipping costs is actually one of the biggest factors. So that's one thing we're doing with them, and we're helping them increase their capacity, making their deliveries more efficient. So that has been very dynamic during this MCO. The other thing that we've also been working with our merchants a lot is how to handle supply chain. So as you know, a lot of goods we buy from in Malaysia actually came from overseas, right? It came from China, came from Vietnam, different places all over the world. So when the whole world shuts down, your ports stop working, your shipping slow down. This creates issues for a lot of our merchants as well. So this is something that the government has actually helped off with a lot. So if you remember a couple of weeks back, there were some issues around getting stock out of the customs, making sure that you can bring it from customs to your warehouse, how to operate safely. I think that has been facilitated by a lot of the authorities as well. So both the logistics as well as the supply chain issues are some of the key things we're working with a lot of parties to try to resolve and make sure it works. Now that we've actually partially opened up, I think conditional MCO has been in place. Some of these issues will start getting addressed more and more so. But I think it's a good exercise because without challenges, you won't grow. So this MCO is effectively testing us, forcing us to get better than we were before.
What is the most sellable items during this MCO time?
Face mask.
Oh, face mask. Okay.
No surprise, that one.
Yeah.
So, I think that's the expected one, right? So everyone knows that face mask, hand sanitizer will sell a lot. We've worked a lot with a lot of suppliers to try to make sure we have enough supply in Malaysia. But I think one of the more interesting things which your audience will want to hear is what else besides face masks and hand sanitizers people are buying. So what we've observed, right, is that what the purchasing behavior reflects what the current situation is. So for example, broadly, in MCO, because everyone cannot go out, everyone has to stay at home, we see people buying less outside clothes, right? Clothes you go for party, clothes you go for a date with a boyfriend or girlfriend, people buy less. But what people buy more is your at-home clothes, clothes when you go for sleeping, when you stand at home, clothes as well. So the profile changes. People also go buy more cooking stuff. So a huge increase in flour and yeast orders. And we're like, what's happening? But when you think about it, it's logical. You cannot go buy food, so you cook yourself. So people buy blender, they buy stove, buy pots, pans. That is to be expected. But what's very interesting is also this immediacy of how fast e-commerce sales reflects news. So remember in the earlier days, during MCO, people were allowed to go for haircuts. But then the cases increased and government said that, no more haircuts. Everyone stay home, stay safe. Even haircuts dangerous. Immediately, within the same day, in fact, within hours, we start seeing the sales of hair clippers increase. It's that fast. People are that responsive. And I think that's one of the interesting dynamics you see in digital transformation overall. In the past, when a new trend comes in, people slowly hear about it. Over the weekend, they start going to the mall, they start buying, and you see the sales pick up maybe a couple of days later. But with digital, a lot of things happen right now. And this is one perfect example of how fast things will happen and how fast sellers need to react. And the sellers also very fast as well. They notice, and they start seeing promotions for scissors, for hair clippers, also started coming up. Because these guys know the trend is coming. I capture first. because people will be looking for these kind of things.
Understand. Datuk Sri, this year for retail industry, what would be the biggest challenge to overcome?
In terms of retail, you see now today, although it's a loosening, but many of the shops are still reluctant to open because knowing the fact that traffic will be very slow. Okay.
Yes.
So once you open your shop, you have to pay rental. I mean, you have to, depends on landlords, so you pay rental, you pay salaries at most, and of course other statutories as well. So this will actually deter many of them. To immediately open. But many of them who have chain of outlets, they're staggering to open. For example, certain areas they open first and certain areas may not open first. Depends on factors, various factors. It could be the traffic flow, it could be like Monday is supposed to be a slow day. So many of them may not open on Monday. So they probably will stagger over and open towards probably end of the week, you see. And this is a good time actually. What the government did is to loosen it so that more people, in fact the retailers and the merchants, can start preparing, you see. So you can't prepare straight away on the 12th. So it's good, you have sort of 1 week or so to prepare everything, your stocks, your staffing, your remobilization of all the various things you need, the promotions. You need to mobilize all this in the quickest possible way. So this actually give us some leeway to plan ahead. Of course, to drive the traffic, as I said, we need to do a lot of promotion, value for money for all the clients, and even the malls have to do their part by maybe giving free parkings, and make sure that the malls are sanitized very regularly, the outlets are sanitized regularly by all the various retailers and merchants, and of course, probably masks and all these will be provided if you need it, and even gloves, all kinds of hygiene has to be put in place to give confidence. Basically, is to give confidence people to come back to shop. I think that will be very important.
Yeah, the confidence. So if those shoppers that shop online, how to protect ourselves from shopping online? Sometimes we are dealing with merchants that are not so responsible or responsive. What is your comment on that?
That's a function of how market works, right? So whether it's online, offline, in general, when you shop for a merchant, you give them a try. First time is a try, right? And whether or not you buy from that person later on depends on your first experience. Great experience, come back again, you tell your friends, people come by. If not, you stop buying. In fact, you tell people don't come and buy. But what has changed when digital came about, right, is that that offline experience no longer stays within that small social circle of people that you know. So if you have bad experience at this retailer, and this food store, this cafe, you don't just tell your friends, you tell everyone else online that, hey, this guy, not that great, his product's not good, or he gave me very bad service. And the way this works is by all these online rating systems. So if you go into Shopee, if you go into Google, you'll find that they now have ratings everywhere. You can rate a person from 1 to 5 star. You can leave your comments. You can show photos as well. And that what it does, right, is it starts holding the seller accountable for what they do.
Yeah.
Right? Now, for sure, some people have bad experiences, no problem. But if you serve 1,000 people, 99 of them says you have an issue, everyone's going to concern. And what's great is that even people you don't know will also know that there's an issue there. So that's how rating systems start working well online. So as a buyer, right, and whether it's online or offline, you want to be able to make references. Ask people, go to Google, search, see what the reviews and ratings are. If you find that, maybe 100 people, 3 people say this one very bad, it's okay. Sometimes if mistakes happen, right? But if 99.7% of people say it's very good or it's okay, then you can feel reassured. So look for people with high star ratings. Look for people with a lot of good comments in their store. And that's how you can always find the best and most reliable sellers out there.
All right, thank you. We have a question from Aaron. It says, how will business model change? I would say during or after this MCO or during this pandemic. Zach, would you want to elaborate on this first? How will the business model change after this? A lot of people saying that offline, online, offline kind of thing, O to O,
Yes.
What
yes.
is your take on that?
So that's actually, you're right though. That's actually the proper way to look at it. I think when some people first look at online, right, they think of online and offline as two separate things, right? You're either
Yep.
online player or you're offline player. But reality, online is just effectively another shopping mall. As a business person, you don't say that my whole life I only bet on one shopping mall. You'll try to expand business, grow into more shopping malls, who are suitable for your customer base, and then expand your business because you can reach more merchants. So that's a concept you should take also for online businesses. You're setting up a store in Shopee because Shopee is another shopping mall for you to reach to more customers. And really, it's just different channels. And that's how you go about understanding this whole business model. It is not a huge transformation. It is an extension of how your current business actually operates. So the point earlier that Datuk Sri made as well about how do you attract people back to offline by doing promotions, attracting people. One dynamic you see more and more often is what you talked about O2O, whether that's offline to online or online to offline. So many different ways this works. So one of my sellers, merchants, he is a pharmacy in Johor. He owns a couple of pharmacy outlets there. He started very early, very successful because he figured out how to make this cycle work. When someone walks into his pharmacy, buys something from him, say thank you very much. Because you're such a loyal customer, I give you a voucher for my Shopee store. So when you need something in a hurry, you cannot come by my store, no problem. You just go buy online from my Shopee store. And the minute he buys online from Shopee store, the parcel goes to him, goes to the customer. He inserts a voucher for his offline store. And then the guy then goes to offline store. So there's this virtuous cycle of online to offline, offline to online. And that's something we see a lot happening as well. So one thing we've introduced in Shopee recently is what we call the food and services vouchers, exactly to help SMEs for display. So you can buy all these vouchers, 10% off, 20% off on Shopee, and take that to go into your store to spend. So you can start driving your Shopee customer base into your physical store as well. And then you can start vicious cycle, online to offline, offline to online, and that's how you really make money.
Okay, thank you, Zed. Datuk Sri, what do you think? How will the business model change after this?
You see, the modern day retail, especially currently, we're talking about online and offline to survive, to sustain in the long term. You see, very important. You have to have both. You see, you look at across the both continent divide, China and USA. Even online companies have bought over many of the what you call a brick and mortar. For example, Alibaba, even Amazon, and even Walmart from brick and mortar has bought over sort of Jet.com, to do online business. And today they're catching up. At one time they were losing a lot of market share. And this is one of the ways you need to have both the physical and online presence, just like Zed was saying. Because even you have online, it's good to have a brick and mortar offline because people may want to experience the product physically, you see. Like even in many countries now, even in Dubai, they have even artificial intelligence and virtual reality, all this. You can even test things on the phone or even go to the shop there to have what you call it, AI mirrors to test all whatever you want on the fashion shop. You see. So things are changing in terms of retail and for merchants as well. So we have to do things very differently. And for malls, you have to be very, what you call it, dynamic, become very experiential, has to be very experiential as well. See? People like Singapore, some malls have reformed. People go there, they not just walk around, they want to experience and see things that is different. Some of the olden days things are coming back, like even the arcade, you have fighting zones, you have yoga classes, cooking classes, all kinds of interactive and experiential stores will be available for people, you see. Perhaps in future, even parking will be made easy in different forms, you see. So we have to be aware about this so that we can keep up with the time in terms of what you call it, the changing landscape of retail, you see. And online is a must. It's a must. Nowadays, we have to build up online because online will give you a lot of physical, a lot of virtual presence in the sense you can reach millions of people just overnight. Look at Shopee. They developed so fast. Just a couple of years today, look at Shopee. They're probably one of the leading. And Shopee has the right concept, I would say. they are so much friendlier to all the merchants compared to Grab or even Panda. They're charging up to 30%. How can the retailers survive, you see? So in this case, I fully support Shopee in whatever ways they do, You look at, you have to be merchant friendly as well, even you're online. You can be big today, you may go off tomorrow, you see? Just like some of the other big boys, you see? So I think we have to do business in a win-win situation in the long term.
True. Is it too late for some entrepreneurs to adopt to this digital transformation? Is it too late for them to do it now?
It's only too late in two situations. It's too late when you die, or it's too late when you give up. So just as long as you don't give up and you have a breath and you want to be able to build a business, you are always in time to go online. Now, of course, I think what you're alluding to is the fact that earlier is better than later. And the reason why earlier is better than later is because when you enter a new market, there's less competition. You have more time to learn and develop your capabilities. You have more time to build your brand. And because of that early mover advantage, when competition starts coming in more and more and more and more down the road, you'll be in a stronger position to compete. So what we see is actually a lot of the smaller brands are making use of the online space to build a presence, while a lot of big brands are taking on strict time. So we had a conversation with one of the big brands we worked with about a year and a half ago, so almost 2 years now. When they first came in online, we started sharing with them, okay, this is what sells on Shopee. These are some of the brands that are very popular as well. And they were shocked to learn that some of the top brands were brands that they've never heard of before. And they didn't even know they were competing against these brands for their consumers. And that's kind of the environment which a lot of people are finding. You are, as a small seller, now have opportunity to compete with big boys in a space which they may not pay full attention to. As a big boy, you want to be careful such that you don't get blindsided by someone else coming in to take a market share. It's like the classical Kodak story, right? Kodak, when they were producing film, they didn't want to do digital cameras because they said, hey, digital cameras don't use film. So if they do digital cameras, I'll kill my film business. So they didn't do digital. They let someone else do it. And reality now is that they did. So that's kind of situation you want to be able to be mindful. So as a small entrepreneur or even as a big business, it is never too late unless you give up. But always go earlier because that's where the advantage comes from.
Understand. So, Dr. Sri, what do you think in terms of, because these days there are too many brands outside, so how can a retailer actually differentiate themselves? And of course, the other question is what actually have MRCA as the front representing the retailer chain have done in educating or encouraging the members to actually go online?
MRCA, we are starting, we are planning stage to start a digital mall. We'll be working in conjunction with various players like Shopee and some of our other members.
Okay.
Including e-wallet payments with iPay88 and many others that could be like many those who wish to join us, to collaborate.
Okay.
This is basically to showcase and help to promote all the members' products and also in a way create more awareness, their presence on the online presence. I think that is important, as what Zach was saying. You need to start small, start early. And this will slowly build up a lot of tremendous awareness in terms of branding. Look at Grab, it started very small, and look at Grab today. They're the leading, probably in Asia. So these are some of the things we have to learn. Of course, even today, you look at the e-wallet, have far exceeded the credit card payments, you see. So that's why it's opposite now. Even credit card companies have to collaborate with e-wallet companies, like even, for example, in China and overseas, they collaborated with Alipay and even WeChat and many others now. So to make sure their presence are still being felt in the future. Otherwise, they'll be just out of place, So these are some of the dynamics I think we have to look at in the future. And to help our members, we have to make sure all these items and all these mechanics are in place to support them.
Understand.
And what we are doing is actually free of charge for all the members. I think that is important.
Then the other question, of course, to that, the marketplace or the e-commerce, how do you all differentiate? Because more and more brands coming in, MRCA also coming out with their own digital mall. So what is your strategy on that?
So I think the challenge of competition and challenge how to differentiate, right, is something that every retailer needs to, or every seller needs to answer for themselves. But one principle that we follow as a business competing with other platforms, and something that we share with a lot of our sellers as well, is that the most important thing online e-commerce, or in fact in business in general, is that one, you need to be responsive and understand what's happening in the market. Right? There is never one solution that works forever. You need to listen to what people say, and you need to be able to figure out what the real situation is. And then secondly, you need to be very fast in deploying your resources in the right way to address the situation. So that's the way we work in Shopee. So people ask us, hey, how do I compete with this other person? What is that one feature, the one winning feature that's helping Shopee win over competition? Sometimes it's a bit hard for me to say, because it isn't one thing. We've never thought of ourselves as having one thing that gave us a clear advantage. We've always thought of ourselves as having the right set of people, the right organizational culture to quickly respond to the situation, build relationship with everyone. I think like what both of you have shared as well, it's very important that your ecosystem thrives, because once you have the right ecosystem, works together, and can respond very quickly together with you to market, that's how as an industry you survive. So one thing we did was, one of the reasons why we spent so much money to put together a support package for sellers. So we've budgeted about 15 mil ringgit to do this. It's because we recognize that we are in a ecosystem. If one part of the ecosystem falls, it is not that part that dies, that part will also affect all the other nodes within the ecosystem, and together will go down, right? So if the merchants don't do well, they start closing shop. Shopee has less merchants to sell. We don't have enough goods to sell to our sellers. The courier companies also suffer because they allow less orders on the platform as well. So this whole network. So that's a key thing. Build the relationship, make sure the ecosystem survives and is healthy, and be very fast, work together, response to what's happening in the environment, and that's how you really win.
Yeah. So after this MCO, or right now we are in the state of MCO, conditional MCO. So how will people buying behavior change after this, Datuk Sri? During conditional MCO and after the MCO is lifted, how will people's buying behavior change? Will people still skew towards online buying, or what is your take on that?
Of course, this MCO has sort of inculcated a lot of the online habits, forcibly, in the sense many have to do online shopping and online references. So this is actually a very propitious time for people to pick up online. And in fact, the government should take this opportunity to spearhead this and make it a big jump on this area of development, so that we can achieve the target of 20% of GDP as soon as possible for digital in Malaysia. And this is to keep abreast of in terms of ASEAN countries. You look at Singapore, they invested a lot of money for digital, even for fintech and for so many other things. And China even have started now sort of on a digital currency. It's a very bold move. So these are dynamics I think we also in Malaysia have to look at. In terms of shopping, I think we have to be balance up, not only just offline, but Malaysia, we are so used to going out, walking around with the family or with friends. So that is one habit. That's one habit, is part of our culture. So of course, the NC online will be an increasing phenomenon in terms of trading and in terms of transactions. And more this will come into play, as what Zach was saying. This will increase over time. And you look at online, is always a double-digit growth in Malaysia. I think probably in a lot of countries as well. So this is one area we have to focus and develop further. But surprisingly, even in US today, the overall is only about 30% in terms of sales from online. China have more, probably about more than 50%. Malaysia, of course, we only have 5%. We are far away. So I think these are that you can see there's a lot of room for improvement. Shows that there's a big gap here in terms of online business. So you have to look at this opportunity for the platform as well, also for the retailers, the merchants, and also the consumers. These are areas we have to look at critically. As I mentioned just now, even online, there's a lot of opportunities. You look at this, as I mentioned, Amazon, Netflix, and Microsoft still having record a level of price share in the marketplace, despite the lockdown. So this is something already a very good telltale sign for us to emulate and to go on, to take up this challenge for the future.
Understand. Okay. Zed, so after MCO, will we see a flattening of the curve for online shoppers?
Flattening of the curve. That's a good pun. So I think the exactly what Datuk mentioned as well. During MCO, a lot of people were forced to go online, and as a result, that actually helped nurture a lot of the online buying behavior, which is why you see in US, same thing in Malaysia, around region as well, there's a surge of people going online buying, and that's why you see Post Laju also saying that, hey, Tolong, please give me some time because there's many parcels, it's very hard for me to ship. I'm trying my best. So that's definitely happening in MCO. So to your point, what happens during CMCO, or even what happens after MCO? So we see two things happening. One thing is that we think the baseline will grow. Baseline meaning that if I do nothing at all, every day people just buy, that will definitely increase post-MCO because all these people who've never bought online before now have tried for the first time. And because the first time is always the hardest, the next purchase will be much easier. And as a result, we see a lot more online purchases than we were before. But the second interesting trend is when people will buy online. So the thing with MCO that a lot of people feel is that weekday, weekend, macam no difference. It feels like same thing every day. And the online buying trend is pretty much the same every day. Constantly high, constantly on the way. After MCO, the trend will return to what we call the normal. And the normal for online buying, some people still don't know yet, is actually office hours. We get the most sales during office hours, which kind of tells you what people are doing in office.
Wow, now I know why my staff so productive.
Contributing to GDP. That's what they're doing.
Okay.
But that's interesting dynamic, right?
Okay.
So we see the peak buying time for e-commerce is generally during weekdays. And weekends, it slows down a little because weekend, people go to shopping malls, to jalan, to go makan, to meet friends, etc. And that's why there's this online is weekdays, offline is weekends. And that's very interesting because that is a perfect combination. So people have this mentality that, hey, if people go online, they won't buy offline. Not true. They still buy offline as well. It's when you target them. So imagine if you're a small SME, you open a small boutique somewhere. Reality is your sales is primarily on weekends. So you hire the one staff there, sits there, you only make money primarily Saturday, Sunday. Monday to Friday, just enough, break even, good enough. But when you go online plus offline, you get this guy, Monday to Friday, go man your store online. Saturday, Sunday, focus on your walking customers. And then Monday to Sunday, you make money every single day. So that's one of the interesting dynamics you can tap on. And that's one of the retrends we'll see as we go post-MCO, which will allow both the online and offline side of business for SMEs to thrive at the same time.
Understand. So, of course, at this juncture, what kind of support can Shopee offers, those entrepreneurs or SMEs or brand owners that have not gone to your platform? And what other supports that you all are giving out to them?
So there's stuff that we've been always doing. So we've always
Do you all have a MCO campaign, things like that? To lure them in to be your merchant?
So maybe I share both sides. I share what we always do, and then on top of that, what else we are also providing for our sellers as well. So normal stuff is the free shipping. We don't charge for commissions. We have free online classes that we give it to our new merchants attend. So about 30 classes in all, everything from the most basic to most advanced courses, free to attend on Shopee University. Now to what you're alluding as well is, on top of that, what else, right? COVID, MCO, a lot of people suffering. What else are we doing? So I mentioned earlier that we've set aside $15 million. This is for what we call the Shopee Seller Support Package. In essence, what we do is we help new sellers come online by providing some extra free advertising credits so you can get sales when you come to Shopee, reduce their free shipping, min spend. We also give them free Shopee sponsored vouchers. And then for existing sellers, we do the same thing as well, free ad credits. We reduce the cost of a lot of marketing programs so we can save them some money as well. And all this is to help everyone survive during this period of time, as well as make the transition to the online business. So this really boosts sales. If there's need for assistance, we have team members as well at our Shopee universities offline who actually engage some of these merchants to help them learn how to go online as well. I think what's a great thing as well is that we are not the only guys doing this. We partner with MRCA to do a lot of initiatives to reach out members. We also partner with a lot of government agencies who try to help in their own way, different segments of Malaysian businesses. So we've always partnered with MDEC and PERDAS for a very long time to help the rural entrepreneurs succeed. So small towns get online, sell, make some money. Recently, we've announced a partnership with some of the state governments as well as a Fisheries Association, Agricultural Association to help set up the Raya Ramadan bazaars, to help our fishermen and grocers go online. So many different people actually working together. So I think what's great is that it's not just us helping sellers. We're doing a part. It's also all these people helping each other, and together that's how we're going to strive and grow together.
All right, thank you. And we have a question from Nasuha. What more can be done by the government to help the retailers? Datuk Seri, what do you think? What more? Of course, the government have done their part. What more can they do?
The previous stimulus, you can see that is more to assist the B40 and M40 and also e-hailing staff, is it? And then the recent one was basically to support the micro SMEs. That's why you have the 3,000 ringgit, is it? And of course, some soft loans. But soft loans also now, it seems that there's insufficient funds, is it? Some of the members, the friends...
used up already.
Yeah, it seems that they're approved.
SRF is used up already.
So what is important now, the government must to support more of the mid-tier SMEs. In fact, many of the SMEs and retailers, they have easily more than 500 staff, is it? So currently, it is only supporting 200. We hope that the government next phase would actually cater to a bigger, widespread of staff, is it? Probably up to 500 at least, you know. And the soft loan, I think government have to put their feet down and to add in more sort of funds and also speed up the process because time is crucial. It is of essence. And then another, probably the biggest challenge now is rental. Besides salary, the problem is that when you talk about distancing, you probably will score about 40 to 50% of the sales only, is it? Can you imagine you still have to pay the same sort of rental? So that will be a big challenge, is it? So this is one area is very grey. So the government have to step in to support. There's one way which I suggested is that like TNB have been making a lot of profit last year, $4 billion. So to give 50% rebate is actually no big deal, is it? But currently they're only giving 50%. But even that, the bigger malls are not qualified to sort of to secure these rebates. So more has to be done in this area. So if let's say the malls have 50% rebates, at least this will trickle down to support more of the retailers in terms of rebates and so on. So you have a back-to-back situation. Of course, the landlord in this kind of situation has to be more empathetic and more compassionate in the sense of supporting the retailers and the merchants because, you see, they are big boys. Many of them are the REITs and all this, and they make a lot of money. So, but for the retailers, most of them they have shallow pockets, and short runways, and they will not last for more than 2-3 months, even according to the survey. And in fact, many of them already start planning to scale down, either in terms of outlets or in terms of operations, or even some very small one they may even close down. So this is very serious. And then on the part of the staff, the staff must also understand you don't work. You probably take a pay cut or some kind of sort of agreement, just to compromise on this situation. I think that's very important. Another area which I also engage with the government, you must give a statutory moratorium as well, at least for the next 6 months, if not up to end of the year. Like Singapore, they're giving up to end of the year, knowing the fact that this situation would not disappear so quickly, isn't it? So at least EPF, SST, income tax, all this has to be deferred for at least for the next 6 months, you see. So people will tie through this difficult period. I think this is very important because now we're talking about cash flow. Cash flow. If you don't even have cash, you can't survive. That's why I always advise conserve as much, even whatever little cash you have, and cut down unnecessary expenditure. Just if you are sort of have not much of saving, just focus on food. The necessities, and that's it. And it's very important that we have to focus and to make sure we tie through this difficult period. And it's not going to be short term, is it? Looking at the situation, it's not just the next 6 months, probably if you are lucky to stabilize, and next 6 months probably to build up to normalcy. But even that, I believe you need a lot of government support in this year. The government need to drive the economy in a very aggressive manner. And I also mentioned there are a few areas which the government can help the economy, so that when you pump in more money to the economy, then the whole business environment, the whole business community will thrive. For example, the first thing is tourism. You see, look at Malaysia. We are still the safest country in South Asia. We have, in terms of fatality, we are very low, you see. And in the numbers also, we are very low. And we have such a sort of a sparsely occupied territories in various states. We have 13 states, you see. So we can easily promote this with special packages with, for example, the airlines, with the hotels, and also the malls. You look at Bali, after the bombing, everybody afraid to go. But within 3 months, you look at that, everybody just go back to Bali because there was so
business as
fantastic.
usual.
There's so much of fantastic offers given to people at that time. You see, everyone just want to fly to Bali. And look at today, Bali actually benefited so much. People want to go back, because of the previous experience, the previous opportunity to go there. And of course, the other area like foreign direct investment and reinvestment, government have to give a tax break, you see. I think that's also very important, you see. So this will also drive in a lot of money into the economy, you see. And of course, you have to support the SMEs and the people in general. For example, through soft loans, if the government don't have enough money, I think one of the areas like most countries will be doing a COVID bond, you see. Just like post-World War II, people took a big bond to spur the economy. Otherwise, we don't have enough funds, even with the current deficit, fiscal deficit, you can't support the whole economy. See? Like just now we mentioned, even the soft loan, soft relief fund running dry, so that it doesn't tells a very good story. So the government needs to be more aggressive in their approach. I was told that EPU and the MOF, Ministry of Finance also, they're working out something to spur the economy. But hopefully, we hope that something aggressive and something out of the box and something really, really dynamic to spur the business community in Malaysia in the shortest period of time. I think that is very critical to survive. Otherwise, we'll be losing out. Even in Malaysia, you see, is a very important supply chain. We are one of the most important supply chain in the world so today. Even like Samsung, I didn't know they're actually supplying more than 60-70% of the microchips to the world market. And today, electrical and electronics is one of our top exporting items, and many of them are foreign investors. So many areas we can actually drive the economy to spur, to stimulate it, to make it alive again, you see, in the shortest period of time, you see. I think these are some of the important, even education, the day I was mentioning, education. At one time, Malaysia was one of the top destinations in Southeast Asia. You see, there are thousands and thousands of students coming to Malaysia to study, because Malaysia actually has very high level education standards, especially the private sectors, you see. Most of the colleges and universities, you can see that they're very high standard. Even look at Sunway Health, Monash, and Taylor, so many of them, they are doing well those days. And suddenly you look at the numbers have been dropping, So there must be some kind of special program as well to spur these areas. Because once your students are here, can you imagine the parents will be coming here to spend on shopping, on accommodation, buying properties? Just like in Australia today, it contributed as the third largest GDP contributor in Australia, and it's about 30 billion USD to Australian coffers. Can you imagine? Malaysia could also score another area in terms of this will create a lot of multiplier effect to spur economy. Everybody will be happy, and then more disposable income and more propensity to spend. I think that's important.
Yeah, that's very important. Thank you for the insight sharing. The next question we have from we take it as a last question. Questions. We have it from Glenn Kong. How we should change our business strategy during this pandemic? That probably what it meant here is for you will be digitalization strategy. What should the SME or entrepreneurs have for their strategy on digitalization?
So I think the
Zach, over to you.
Okay. So the current context is that a lot of people now, no choice, have to go online. So that's providing impetus to go online right now. Then the question is, how do you go about online?
Yeah.
The strategy for online, I talk about macro first before I go down details, right? It's actually not that much different from trying to enter a new market. First thing you do is you need to go in there, get a feel of what the market looks like. And the great thing about online is that market research is easy. It's easy for you to find information. It's easier for you to go and shop it directly. Just do a simple search for your group products, right? If you're selling handphones, search for handphones. If you're selling clothing, search for clothing. Have a look at what people are buying. Have a look at what people like and what people say as well. That gives you a sense of what the market looks like. Once you know the situation, that's how you can start responding to competition, right? You know who's selling what. You know what the price points are. You know how they're marketing themselves. So you need to find for yourself a niche for you to compete in. Get a toehold, get a BH, and then that's how you build your business into other areas as well. So the broad area is, think of this as no different from entering a new market. Except down this market is a lot more transparent, it's a lot more competitive. So you need to be a lot more thought out in terms of how to enter the market. That's macro. The micro, there are a lot of different tactics to enter. So I'll share you a story how we started in Shopee, right? When we first came into the market 5 years ago. When we first came to the market, there were actually a lot of big boys around. The big boys, some of them have died already, some of them are still around. But essentially, we were not entering a market that was completely empty. So we asked ourselves, all these guys in Malaysia, e-commerce, what are they doing? Who are they not taking care of? And we realized that they're all very focused on some very big sellers. They didn't care about the small guys, and they didn't care about what we call the social sellers. People selling Instagram, people selling Facebook. So I thought, hey, there's my opportunity. It's not the hottest thing right now, but based on my market study, because everything's so transparent, I know that's where I can start. So that's where we first started. All these Instagram sellers, social sellers, etc., which is why we're very strong in the Malay community, which is why we're very strong in the fashion, lifestyle side of things as well. But based on that initial foothold, that's how we build up the base we had. We started working with a lot of SMEs, a lot of brands, a lot of big boys, and then we've served the whole gamut from the very small to the very big. So it's about not just the big ones, but also the micro SMEs as well. So that's how you translate the strategy for all these small businesses coming online as well. Do your research, find out what's going on, find that niche to start. You just need one place to start. And the very most important thing is that you need to start. If you sit down talking about it all the time, nothing will ever happen. You may start in line without knowing how to do everything, but as you go along, you start learning and you respond to the situation, build knowledge, and that's how you actually tackle this new online business for your offline business.
Very good. Dr. Sri, how should we change our strategy during this pandemic?
Of course, as you mentioned, online is one of the very important areas we have to focus on, but there's always a sort of cost factor. But understand that the Ministry of HR and also MDEC, there's some grants for training. Maintenance side could be a bit higher. So probably we have to appeal to the government to give some grants if, let's say, you want to take off the digital free trade zone in a big way. And retailers and also merchants, we have to really look at the strategy now. You have to rationalize all your outlets or your business. Are you still going to do the same business or with the same customer base? You probably even have to diversify a bit, just like in China. And even locally here now, many of the members are going to medical supplies. Like just now Zach was saying, masks, sanitizers, and even medical supplies in terms of the equipment. So, and test kits. These are some of the areas we have to look at. Even in terms of customer base, we have to look at, are we going for the middle, the lower, or the higher market place for customers, like this critical situation now, you see, the next 6 months, I don't think the propensity and the disposable income will be normal. So people will tend to be more cautious. So people will be looking at a lot of value buys. So that's where all the online companies like Shopee and the rest can come in to actually promote all this. Just look at Jack Ma, the 11/11 day. One day they sold almost 40 billion USD, just one single day. 38 billion US dollar sales. So why people go into that single day? Because people know that there'll be great value for money. I even have Minister Franklin tell me, Garry, I bought the same fridge or electronic product with a very big savings, 30 to 40%. It's not about the money, but sometimes it's about the satisfaction about getting a good deal. Human beings, we always like something, like a win, you have won something. And that is interesting for us to look at. So that dynamics of business all have to be changed. People have to think out of the box. If you have too many outlets, for example, you feel that it's not in a strategic location, or it's on the borderline, or the rental is too high, the various factors in terms of even staffing and all this, we have to look at very drastic move. Even you look at Jakarta, there was a very big chain of restaurant, Ismaya Group. They just closed all the outlets just within the moment they announced the lockdown in Jakarta, in Indonesia. And 60 odd outlets are just gone like that. And it could be temporary, could be a permanent thing, And look at Esprit after so many years. They just closed it down. And in US as well.
Closing down, except China.
Yeah, in US, you're talking about just a couple or 2 months, and the employment is more than 10%. You're talking about 20 million people out of job or applying for relief. In Malaysia, even MEF, the Malaysia Employment Federation, talking about 2.5 million people be out of job. Can you imagine? So looking at these dynamics, we have to look at the type of marketplace we have to go for. Instead of maybe higher end last time, now you probably have to focus more on the middle. That would probably even the luxury brands. Now they're giving a lot of specialty. Or I can personalize for you. I can carve your name, do whatever messages, and even giving special discounts. In different ways. Is a way how they market the product. And this is what people are looking for. I think value for money would be the gist of it. Looking at 11/11, that is a very important indication for all purchasers or consumers.
Yeah, agree. At the end of the day, like what Datuk Sri said, giving more value, how do we identify the real value that can resonate to the consumer? Of course, like what Z says also, online, offline, offline and online actually is intertwined. It can coexist at the same time. So at this juncture, everyone that try to play safe is actually very risky. So with that, thank you very much again to our panelists, Datuk Sri and Z. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your sharing. Thank you for your insights. And also, thank you every one of you all who tuned in to watch the show on the first day of our how should I say, probationary MCO. Okay. With that, thank you very much and good night, everyone. Stay home, stay safe, and stay calm. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.